Right, tournament time. Now guys, here is the deal. If I lose any single game, I'll simply withdraw from the tournament and end the stream. But I'm gonna upload anyways. And before I join, you can do me a favor by turning on the bell notification icon after you subscribe so that you do not miss any of my future uploads. Just realized that most of you guys don't even know that I have many amazing videos on my channel with lots of traps in them, and that's how you motivate me to keep on doing these things. And just for disclosure, I will play all the games in Zen mode because I don't want to see my opponents' ratings or their names, and that's what Zen mode means, just hiding my opponents for me to focus. Now let's go. And here's my first game, playing in Zen mode so that I can focus and just to avoid getting intimidated by my opponent's rating or their name. So e4, e5, I'm an e4 player, knight to f3. Okay, time for the Ponziani. So pawn to c3. If knight f6, I'll just go pawn to d4. Done. Oh, so there we see pawn to d5. Actually, d5 goes together with queen a4 in the Ponziani opening. I have so many tutorials on the Ponziani opening, you guys. So you can check my channel once again and check out those tutorials. So DE goes with knight takes e5, pressuring the knight, and most people play bishop d7. Yep, so knight takes, and next I'll just take the pawn on e4. So now I'm up a pawn, it's official, and that's why I like the Ponziani, by the way, because there are these unknown tricks that most people are not aware of. I mean, that's why they are unknown, right? So castle long, what can I do? Maybe develop my light squared bishop, or play queen f3, or just bishop b5, pinning the knight. You know, I just want to mess up black's pawn structure on the queen side. So knight f6, my queen is under attack, queen f3. Still want to capture on c6 to mess up black's pawn structure. So king b8, yep. So I guess I just have to take. And this is how you play even in classical tournaments, you guys. In serious games, you just play for the end game. If you can manage to emerge with a favorable pawn structure, you should go on to win the game. So now h3 to prevent knight g4. By the way, what could be the rating of my opponent? Maybe 2000 or somewhere between 2000 and 21. And I'm only saying so because of their lack of this opening knowledge, or rather the Ponziani opening knowledge, because I expect every 2200 or advanced opponent to know the Ponziani and the right way to play against it. So my final rating guess is between 2000 and 2100. Bishop takes e7, queen takes. So now let me develop my knight on d2. And if pawn to g5, I have, okay, so there we see h4 first. Rook fe1, just attacking the queen. And now I have a great outpost for my knight on c5. Knight e4 is attacking the queen. So again, knight c5. Yeah, with these kinds of moves, this can only be someone rated below 2100. And I don't mean to insult, guys. I mean, I've been a 2100 before. I've been a 2000 before. If anything, I'm only encouraging you guys to work harder and improve your ratings. I mean, that's what we do on this channel, right? So I don't know how black can stop this checkmate, by the way. So this should be a 2100 or 2000. What did I say? I mean, this was not pre-planned, you guys. No editing involved. So my prediction was correct. And now it's time to move on to the next game. Hoping to get a higher rated opponent this time. Let's see how I'm going to fare. Okay, so second game, pawn to e4 by my opponent. I like going knight c6, playing the names of which defense, because I just find that to be flexible. If pawn to d4, I wanted to say take on d4, but knight to f6. So this is now the 4 knights game. So bishop c4. I think let me Spanish my opponent. Or maybe take on e4 with my knight, because if white takes back, I have pawn to d5. I think this is a line. I remember covering something like this in one of my videos last year. I was expecting white to play bishop b5. So based on my opponent's previous move, I would say my opponent should be rated between, let's say, again 2000 and 2100. But that's not my final guess though. Let's see what else my opponent is going to play after I take on e4. So simply knight takes e4. Let's see. Okay, now this should be a 2050 rated opponent somewhere there. So around 2050. So the right move was knight takes e4, allowing me to go pawn to d5, then bishop d3. Anyways, so white took on f7, sacrificing their bishop, but I can just take that bishop. So knight takes e4, now pawn to d5. So this is the main problem with taking on f7, because you allow me to dominate the center with my, pawns, just like what we do in the Halloween Gambit. So knight g3. So I can go pawn to e4, gaining more central space, because what else? I mean, driving that knight away, it doesn't have any safe squares apart from b1. So knight b1, great. What to do next? Maybe I should just go pawn to h5. Yep. Next h4. Just harassing that knight, buying time on my opponent's minor pieces that are misplaced. I also have bishop g4 attacking the queen in the near future. I don't even know the best continuation here. I have bishop d6 coming, or bishop c5. Oh, I didn't see that coming. Like knight takes h5 looks weird, because I mean I can just go queen h4, right? Queen h4 first. If pawn to g3 I have, okay, so knight back to g3, but maybe bishop g4 attacking the queen. If pawn to f3, I think I'll just okay, there we see knight 1 e2 by white. Knight d4, let's see. Everything is pinned. If pawn to c3, I think I'll just take. Or d3. d3, can I take the pawn or maybe take the knight on e2? So knight takes e2 looks promising, but if everything is pinned right now, why can't I take advantage of this and develop my bishop? So bishop c5 makes a lot of sense, because two of white's knights are pinned. So bishop c5 makes a lot of sense. The g knight is indirectly pinned by my queen, by the way, in case you don't know what I mean. So I anticipate bishop e3 by white, because what else can they do? Maybe pawn takes. But after pawn takes, I can just take the knight, maybe. Yeah, or maybe take the pawn first. I can just take the knight, I don't know. So there we see bishop e3, knight takes e2. If knight takes, I have bishop takes, yep. Bishop takes, the f pawn is pinned to the queen. Oh, did I see that? Can I just take on f2 with check? Or maybe go queen h3, or queen h4, I mean queen h5. Or maybe I take on f2 first, and then go queen h3. So bishop takes, I didn't see that, but I think we are all good. So queen f6 check first. I wanted to go queen h3, but that made no sense to me. So king back to e1, pawn to e3. I don't want that king to escape from Sobibo. I thought my queen was pinned, but I have bishop f5 at worst, or rook takes h2, which I've just played. I don't mind giving up my queen because I have so many attackers. I mean, the bishop is pinning the knight on e2, and I have rook takes e2 with check. My pawn is on e3. This is a clear win for me. So I don't mind trading off my queen this way. So let's see what my opponent is going to do. So I'm still holding on to 2050 because of my opponent's moves. So there we see king f1, rook a h8, sending more troops to the kingdom of Babylon. I have rook h1 check coming next. Oh, my opponent just hung this queen, but I guess I have rook f2 check first. I have all the time in this world to chill, and I don't even have to take the queen because I have rook h1 next. Checkmate. Yeah, I think this is forced mate. White can't just do anything. Yeah, so rook takes, checkmate. Ha! What? Okay, I was close. I said 2050, somewhere around 2050, but my opponent was a 2086. So I'll take that as a correct guess. Anyways, let's see who I'm playing against next. Okay. Again, I don't know the rating of my opponent. E4. I want to play knight f3. So there we see the Sicilian. Pawn to c3. I like playing the Alpine variation because it allows me to control the center with my center pawns. I mean, if you want to frustrate any Sicilian player, just go for the Alpine variation. You'll never go wrong. So knight e7 prepares for knight f5 by black. I mean, this is the very common knight maneuver in the French defense and also in the Caro-Kann. So pawn to b4. Bishop b2 is coming next. By the way, this is also how you fight against the French defense. So based on my opponent's moves, I can safely say it should be rated between 2150 and 2200. Or probably 2150 and 2250. Yeah, somewhere in that range. I have knight bd2. Maybe I can put my knight on b3. Or knight c3 is straight. Yep, that looks more matured. Knight a4 is coming next, or knight d2, I don't know. Knight a4 attacking the queen. Knight c5 is the target. Knight c5, maybe I'll take that light squared bishop, because what else can I do? So one of the reasons I like playing the Alpine is that I have, an opportunity to transpose the game into the French, or black may transpose the game back to the French defense, which is one advantage of playing the Alpine variation. That's the most simplest way to, frustrate your opponents. So clearly this should be somewhere between 2150 and 2250. So that's my final guess. Rook ac1. Oh, I didn't see bishop h6. Maybe knight g5. Knight g5, blocking the bishop and also targeting the f7 pawn. So bishop takes, pawn takes. And now black played king b8. Kind of a prophylactic move, but I guess pawn to b5. If pawn takes, I'll take. Yep. So bishop takes b5. I just removed that, by the way. Knight f5, knight a5 by black. Maybe I should play rook b1 or castle short. I don't know. So which one is which? Rook h3. Rook h3 is a clever way of involving my h-rook into the game, shifting it to the queen side. So queen a5 check. Guess I can just play king f. What? Did I just blunder? I mean, I hanged my light squared bishop because I was busy talking instead of thinking. So I have no any move apart from king f1 or bishop c3 blocking the check, since I couldn't block that check with my elbow. So bishop c3 is good. So queen takes b5, rook b1. I'll just pretend as if this is a gambit or something like that. Terrible. So I only see queen c4 by black. So rook takes, yep, rook takes b7 check. Yeah, this is kind of checkmate. After queen b1, is it? Or bishop a5. Queen b1 looks more promising. Yeah, because this may lead to a funny checkmate. My bishop is defended by my h-rook. I think this is checkmate unless there's something that I can see. So knight takes e4. Knight takes d4 is a sheer waste of time because of rook b8 check and... yeah, rook b8 check and queen b7 checkmate, or rook b8 check and queen b6 checkmate. Yep. Right. So, first time to predict wrongly. So that was incorrect. My opponent was a 1948 rated player. Dear me. Thought he was rated between 2150 and 2250. I mean, he played very well in the opening stage. That's why I said that. And besides, he played the Sicilian defense. Not so many 1900s play the Sicilian defense. Anyways, pawn to e4. This is my fourth game, by the way. So I guess I should go knight c6. Again, the names of which defense, e5. Okay, there we see the Ponziani. So now I'm the one who's facing the Ponziani. All I know is that the right move, or the best theoretical move, is pawn to d5 from here. Yeah, pawn to d5. But can I surprise my opponent? Maybe try something else. Something like pawn to g5. How about that? Or maybe pawn to f5. Or h6. You know, I just love surprises. And that's why I lose most of my games, because I play a lot on the board. Pawn to f5. I don't even know the name of this gambit, but this is a gambit. Let's just go with it. Can I go pawn to e4, harassing that knight on f3, or maybe I should develop my d pawn to d5, or something like knight to f6, or just go pawn to d5, e4 first. So there we see knight d4. I think I should just take that knight, messing up white's pawn structure, or go pawn to d5. Things look good. The problem with knight takes d4 is queen h5 check. So knight to f6 first makes a lot of sense. So let me just go knight to f6. Yep. So judging from these opening moves, what could be my opponent's rating? I guess this can be a 1900 or somewhere between 1850 and 1900. Why 1900? Because I've noticed that 1900 are playing well in this tournament, and yep, I'll just stick to 1900, or maybe between 1850 and 1900. The opening is not that strong though, hence my prediction. Let's see what next. Castle shot by my opponent. Queen d7 I think makes sense, or bishop d6 first. Bishop d6 followed by, oh, so there we see pawn to f3. Can I just take that pawn, or maybe wait for white to take me? I guess queen c7 makes sense, just putting more pressure on the h2 pawn. I mean, most lower rated opponents are not good at defending. So if I have a chance to attack, I need to make use of that chance. So I guess I can just take on h2 first with check, and then take the pawn on e4, or maybe go bishop g4 first. Wait, bishop takes h2 check first, let the king move, and now go bishop g4. There's no need to take on e4, by the way. I mean, what is that? Rook takes f6, hanged the queen. I mean, based on this move, I have changed my mind. This can't be a 1900 rated player. This should be an 1800 or 1820, or between 1800 and 1850. So that's what I have settled with. I didn't expect my opponent to hang his queen just like that. I mean, so this is now a simple game, no more commentary, and let me just focus on the moves and tell a story. I mean, this is already a lost game for white. So I have rook a f8 next, joining the party, or maybe rook h f8. Yeah, rook a f8, trying to mate white like that. I don't see any serious defense there. So this should be an 1800 rated opponent based on their last blunder. Nobody does that. So bishop g3, still have queen f4 and mate like that. There are so many ways in which I can mate my opponent, but let's see. Rook d1, queen f4, queen f4. I can even sack my queen, or go queen f4 check and deliver a checkmate on h2. Okay, due to time wasting, I had to cut that. So queen check, and then this is a straight checkmate. My opponent was just, wasting time. So I had no option but just to live edit, and I was right. That's an 1809 rated player. Anyway, that wasn't supposed to happen. Terrible. My opponent should have just resigned. Let's go to game number 5, and now I'm on position 16. I haven't lost any game so far. Let's see what I'm going to do in the next game. Right, playing in Zen mode again, because I don't want to see my opponent in order to avoid getting intimidated. Pawn to c5, the Sicilian defense, mostly 2100s and 2200s are the ones that like playing the Sicilian. Okay, based on this move, pawn to e5, this should be around 2100 and 2150. Nobody plays pawn to e5. I mean, This just looks ridiculous. There are so many back weaknesses. Knight c6, I don't believe in this either. So let's see what I can do. Maybe go pawn to d4. What is this? So this should be a 2100, maybe 2117, I don't know. This can't be a 2200. Let's see. So my final decision, or my final prediction is between 2100 and 2150. So castle short first, knight to f6, attacking my pawn on e4. So I should defend or go pawn to d4, hitting on the center right away because I have nothing to lose. I think here I should take on d4. I don't care about my e4 pawn. Okay, so e5, harassing that knight. This looks like the max range of the Deuce Gambit, so we don't really care about our e4 pawn. Let's see what black is going to do. Knight g4, that's suspecting. I can simply go pawn to h3. Yeah, pawn to h3 makes a lot of sense because if knight takes e5, black will lose a piece. So pawn to h3. Yeah, I think I just want a free piece in the opening. So clearly this should be a 2100. In fact, based on these last moves, I have changed my mind. I have settled with 2000, or let's just say my opponent is rated below 2100. So pawn to d5, rook takes with check, and then rook takes pawn, I think. Yep. So rook takes d5, attacking the queen. So this should be someone rated between 2000 and 21. Yeah, so clearly they hanged their queen also. Oh, that was a very wrong prediction. Oh my god, that was so incorrect. So this was a 1687 rated player. First wrong prediction ever since I started this series. Anyway, let's just move on to the next game. So even though I won the game, I feel like a loser because I did not predict the rating right. So game number 6, e4, again, the names of which defense. I mean, what else do I know? Okay, e5, pawn takes, knight takes. So I expect to see knight to f3, after which I'll go queen f6. Yep, so knight f3, queen f6. This is all theory. Bishop b4 is coming. Okay, knight takes, queen takes. So based on my opponent's opening moves, I would say he is rated between 2100 and 2150. So let's just leave it at that. Or maybe 2130, I don't know. But let me just say between 2100 and 2150 because I've seen these things over and over. So anyways, bishop d3. What can I do? Bishop d6. You know, just trying to checkmate my opponent. Just trying to steal the game, in other words, in case of castle short. Okay. So that's pawn to f4. I didn't expect my opponent to blunder, by the way. So I have queen d4 or queen a5. Which one? Queen d4 maybe. So queen d4. Next I'll play bishop c5. So queen f3. So I can go bishop c5 maybe. I don't like my position, to be honest, because there's pawn to c3 coming. So bishop c5 first, bishop c5, stopping bishop e3 by white. Yeah, just stopping that. So that was the reason why I played bishop c5. It wasn't even necessary. But I anticipate to see pawn to c3. After which I'll just retreat my queen and put it on b6. Yep. So queen d6. Next, queen b6 is coming. Maybe white is going to play b4. I don't know. But my position looks a little bit shaky. I don't like it at all. Look at how white is advancing towards my territory. So pawn to e5, queen e7. I don't like what I'm seeing right now. And this is the only thing I heard about chess. Losing or being pressured. So b4, bishop b6, a4, a5. I think let me go pawn to a5. That's how we stop that a pawn. b5. And I hope bishop a3 is now on the plate, so I should be very careful pawn to d6. Yeah, bishop a3, just like I said. But I can just develop my king's knight, I guess, or my light squared bishop, or go queen h4 check. I have queen h6 in case of pawn to g3. Yep. So, or maybe I can go queen h3. I don't know. What should I do? Exchange queens? So that if queen takes, I go bishop takes. I have so many options. So a little bit confused. So pawn takes, can just castle long if I want to. Yep. Indirectly attacking the light squared bishop. So I'll still, stick to my rating prediction. Could be a 2100 or a 2150 between this range. Is that a checkmate coming? Yeah! Bishop h3 is checkmate. Wow! And I was right! 2154. So, yeah, I can consider this to be a right prediction. So, 2154 was my opponent's rating. So far, so good. And I'm now on position number 2, guys. We are doing great. And that was game number 6, by the way. So on to game number 7. Let's see what I'm going to do in this next game. Playing black pieces in Zen mode. And there we see pawn to d4. So let me go pawn to e5 this time, just to test my opponent. Okay, there we see pawn to d5. I thought my opponent was going to take. So based on this move, I'll say my opponent is rated below 2100 because d takes e5 is the correct move. That was the England Gambit. And it was just a free pawn. So white should have taken advantage of that. So based on these opening moves, which my opponent is making, I would say he is rated below 2100. There was no need to play pawn to d5 after I played e5. And now what should I do next? Maybe go queen h4. Or maybe pawn to d6 first of all. Just paving way for my light squared bishop. That makes a lot of sense. And let's just see. I expect to see pawn to e4 by white. If he's really a 2100 or someone rated below 2100 or between 2000 and 2100. So knight c3, not a bad move, but that allows me to go pawn to f5 anyways, dominating the center with my center pawns. I expect to see knight a4, but I have pawn to a5. Let's see what my opponent is going to do. Okay, there we see knight h3. Should I reconsider my thoughts? Or maybe I should just stick to 2100. Okay, let's just say my final prediction is my opponent is rated below 1900. It should be between 1700 and 1900. Let's just stick to that. So that's my final prediction based on what I have seen so far. So let's see what my opponent is going to do. So settled with 1700 and 1900 in that range. It could be an 1850 something, I don't know. So just between 1700 and 1900. So you can see what I'm talking about. Now my opponent's bishop is trapped. Bishop g3 was a blunder. And so was bishop h4, by the way. So pawn takes, I can just take back with my pawn. Yeah. So the dark squared bishop is just trapped. This could be an 1800 rated opponent. Or between 17 and 18. 17 and 19, just like I said. So queen d3 is a sneaky move trying to, fight for the g6 square. But I guess I can just go queen e8 check. Also eyeballing the g6 square. That dark squared bishop can't run away. And now we see bishop e2. I guess I can first take on h3 since that bishop can't escape from Sobibo. I don't even know what the word Sobibo means. So bishop takes h3. I do actually. I just love the word. Let me know what it sounds to you. Sobibo. What is Sobibo? Sobibo. Pawn takes. Now I can safely take the bishop, the free bishop. So pawn takes. And now the game is over. I have knight e5 coming. I just played knight b d7 and white castled long. This is now boring. I can take the f2 pawn if I want to, but let me just go knight e5. This is how we play chess. Now I can take the f2 pawn. Nothing can stop me from doing that. Yeah, this could be an 1800 or 1900 rated player. I mean, these are people who don't like resigning. They have no respect. And I don't mean to insult, because I used to do this when I was 1800 as well. And that's how we roll. So knight, bishop e3 check. Okay. So there we see knight d2 covering the check, but that won't stop me from cruising. I have queen a4 at best. And that's what I just played. I expect to see pawn to b3, but I have queen b4 and knight takes b4 in the near future. I mean, knight takes c4. So let's see what my opponent is going to do. I don't know. He is just wasting time. So pawn to b3, queen b4. That was pre-planned. I knew that was coming. I have queen c3 check for future reference. Yeah, so bishop d3 is a blunder because I have queen c3 check, and I'll take that bishop for free and end up checkmating my opponent. So queen c3 check, and yeah, so knight takes. Oh, my time. Maybe I should have played queen a1 check first. Oh, my bad. Anyways, king b1 by white, queen takes. Now I'm running for dear life. I'm low on time. I don't have initiative. Okay, knight takes rook. I think knight takes rook. Then knight e4. Makes a lot of sense to me, because I'll just take the knight there. Damn, what am I doing? I mean, okay, there we see knight e1, rook f2 check, knight c5 check, rook f. I wasted my time talking. Okay, checkmate. Yep, just like I predicted, this is an 1828 rated player. Once again, right prediction, no acting, no pre-planned moves. I mean, I could tell by how my opponent was moving his pieces in the opening stage. That was dubious. And that was game number 7. So on to game number 8. Still on second position. Let's hope I'm going to end on first position. That will be great. So next game in white. Should I start with pawn to e4 again? And I just berserked, by the way, pawn to e4. In case you don't know what berserk means, is simply cutting my time in half. Okay, so now I started with 1 minute 30 seconds. Oh, and my opponent did the same, by the way. So we both berserked, cutting our times in half. So this is the line, you guys. Nothing strange about this. We sacrifice our knight on e5 in order to go queen h5 check, given a chance. Yep. So pawn takes, queen h5 check. If g6, I have queen. Oh, I wanted to take on e5 again. Queen takes e5 check, but I have bishop takes, knight. So I just want a free knight, by the way. If rook takes, I have queen f7 check and win the rook. So this is all theory. I expect black to take the bishop. Yep. So queen f7 check and bishop to cover the check. Yep. So next, queen d5 check. All this is theory. I expected this to happen. But because of the moves that my opponent made so far, I would say he is rated between 2100 and 2180. So I'll stick with that. This should be a 2100 rated player, or at best a 2180. So I'm trying to find a way of checkmating my opponent. Okay, let me play queen a4 check. Yep. So there we see king b6. King b6, I don't know what to do. Queen b3 check, maybe. King a5, maybe pawn to a4 or pawn to d3. I should take my time. Just a matter of time before checkmating my opponent, but I have to do it right, as highlighted on the board. So many ways to kill the rat. So pawn to b5. Now I can go bishop d6, I think, or pawn to a4 first. Yeah, b4. Can I take? Or queen d5 check, queen d5, next checkmate. I only see pawn to c5 there. But I'll just take on b4 with my pawn. So let's see what my opponent is going to do. c5, pawn takes, check. I thought I was going to mate my opponent very fast. So since he is down on time, let me just try to flag him. Dirty mind. Okay, so bishop b7. I think pawn a5 check. Yeah, I'm too slow. I'm too slow for this guy. Okay, knight takes bishop check. Yep. Knight takes bishop check. Then can I take the bishop, the light squared bishop, on knight b5 check? How can I finish off my opponent? Let me stop talking. a6. 2 seconds. No. 2200. I was wrong. I thought my opponent was rated between 2100 and 2180. Okay, 2180 is close to 2200. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. I didn't play the end game very well, but at least I had no any pressure. So let's see this next game. Pawn to e4, knight c6, knight f3. Okay, the Ponziani again, I think. Let me go Ponziani. The Ponziani opening. There we see bishop c5. I don't like this, but I have pawn to d4 at worst. Just playing the normal king's pawn game. Nothing much. So pawn to d4. Okay, pawn takes. My opponent is playing very fast. Could this be a 2200? I think this should be a 2200 rated player. So between 2200 and 2250. So let me settle with that. Yeah, this should be a 2200 rated opponent, around that rating bracket. So castle shot, a6, and he's playing very fast, by the way. Impressive. Bishop g5, provoking pawn to f6. And if black plays pawn to f6, I'm just gonna take on c6. Okay, so there we see knight g7. So bishop c4 first, targeting the f7 pawn. Okay, castle shot by white. Castle shot, castle shot, castle shot, castle shot. Maybe let me just retreat my bishop, or h3 first to prevent bishop g4. Queen e8. What is my bishop doing? Rook e1. My opponent is playing very fast. I don't know why. Maybe he underrates me, but I guess he's gonna blunder because he's playing very fast, yet he is making 0 moves like this. Pawn to h6 is a terrible blunder because he can just take that pawn and go knight to f6. So next, my opponent, yeah, is going to lose his queen. So that's the consequence of playing very fast without knowing what you're doing. I am super happy to see my opponent suffering like this. Why playing very fast if you don't know theory? In fact, it's better to resign than wasting someone's time. You know I won't lose, right? Anyway, let's keep on playing. But I'll still stick with my prediction, you know, somewhere between 2200 and 2250. Since this is what this series is all about. Anyways, bishop e6, I think, let me just take, just simplifying everything. This is how we simplify things. You know what? I feel like my opponent still has some initiative. Let me just keep on trading these pieces. I can't play pawn to f4, but I can take the knight maybe, or unpin my king. I mean, unpin my f pawn. I don't know what to do. I think my opponent has a point. Resigning is not the solution. If I don't know how to mate, his position is great. You know, I'm up a full queen, but I'm admiring my opponent's position. Maybe queen b3, queen g3 check. I don't know. Okay, this is great. Credit to my opponent. And now I'm getting low on time. Queen h5. Maybe take the rook to oversimplify the game. And rook. Did I just leave my f-pawn? Yep. So king h1. I'm low on time. I think my opponent has, the right not to resign. Why am I playing so bad? Maybe pawn to h4. Start advancing my pawn. Involve my rook later in the game. I don't know what my opponent is going to do next. Can't you resign? I mean, anyways, rook d7, rook e7, pawn to h4. Yeah, now I have some initiative. Pawn to h4, rook d3, rook g3, h5. So those are just my plans, by the way. I just played h5 after king h7. So now the knight is dead. Finally, my opponent is dead. So queen takes with check, then rook d3. I should have played rook f1 check. Anyways, rook f3 is coming. Let's see what my opponent is doing. Queen h8 check. Queen h7 check. Queen takes check. Queen h7 check. Queen g6 check. I have 10 seconds, guys. Check. Now the rook is dead. Queen takes check. Queen takes check. Oh no, that's not a check. Let me promote into another pawn. What did I do? Check. Okay, let's kill the bishop. Check. Oh no. Let's get all the pawns. 5 seconds. Okay. Let's get that pawn. 3 seconds. Okay. Easy. Easy peasy, easy peasy, easy peasy, easy peasy, easy. So the secret is just to, make short moves. Lots of short moves. If you are under 1 second. Yep. So my prediction was wrong. My opponent is rated 1980. Bad me. So let's go on to the next game. Still on position 2, by the way. This tournament is not really tough. Yeah, I've played other tough tournaments, like where I literally win nothing. But I'm just lucky today, winning all the games. Haven't lost any game, by the way. So let's see the next game. Okay, now I'm playing black. And my opponent just berserked, meaning he cut his time in half. So he started with 1 minute 30 seconds against my 3 minutes. In such arena tournaments, this is a very common behavior among the 2300s. So I guess my opponent should be rated between 2300 and 2350. Or let's say 2300 and 2400. Yeah, I'm very confident to say that because the game is about to end and it's only a high rated player who can be desperate to win. So most 2300s like doing these things when the tournament is about to end. So what was this opening again? I don't know, but I guess it was a queen's pawn game. Bishop e2, bishop e7, planning to castle short. So the way you play against such people is, to be solid. You don't want to oversimplify the game. When somebody gives you conditions, you want to play solid chess and avoid making lots of trades because, the more you trade pieces, the more you keep it simple for them. So castle short, my opponent has no any penetration. Queen b7. I should just take my time. There's no need for me to rush. Rook c8. But again, I shouldn't be very slow because, my opponent can come back into the game. So, queen c3. I think let me just go c5. Yep, putting a little bit of pressure. Okay, so there we see pawn takes. Yeah, the idea was just to take on d4. Queen takes. Attacking the queen, e5. Yeah, putting a little bit of pressure on my opponent. Why did he berserk? Let's punish him. This should be a 2300 rated player. So queen h4 is kind of a blunder because I have knight d5, which is a discovery attack on the queen. white should do something, and his time is, going low. I have knight c3 coming, if anything. Yeah, queen a4. Now I have knight c3, double attacking the queen and the light squared bishop. Okay, so white just gave up his queen. So that's what I'm talking about. This is how you punish law breakers or people who like giving conditions. So knight takes. I think I can just take the bishop maybe, or take the knight bishop first. Bishops are more powerful in the end game. Now I can simplify the game. Bishop f6. This is a skewer, by the way. Knight takes. I think, let me take with the queen. Attacking the knight. Knight b3. Knight check. Next, take the rook. Yep, this is fantastic, guys. So I have pawn to a4 coming. Yeah, I think pawn to a4 makes a lot of sense. Oh, wait a second. Can't I just sack my bishop on h3? I think bishop takes on h3 is a great sacrifice. I don't know the continuation, but let me just try that. Bishop takes. If pawn takes, I'll just take back on h3 with my queen. Or maybe queen b7. That's checkmate. Wow, I just found this on the board. Yeah, 2379. Just like I said. So my opponent was a 2379 rated player. And to be honest, I didn't see that checkmate coming. It's something that I just found on the board. So it just came as a coincidence. I guess good players are always lucky. Still on position 2. One more game to win and I'll be on position 1. So let's go. I need to win this game for me to be on position number 1. So d4 by white. Let me go knight f6. Pawn to e5. The Budapest. So I need to play this very fast. I didn't berserk because I realized I'm too slow for my opponents. So pawn to f5. Sorry, pawn to f4 is a dubious move. I have bishop c5. So based on this move, I guess my opponent is rated between 2200 and 2250. Yeah, I'll settle with that. So 2200 and 2250. So pawn takes. I have a great position, by the way. No hard feelings. Knight e4 should play bishop b6 maybe, or bishop b4 check. Yep, bishop b4 check. Let's see. Bishop d2 by white, not allowing me to put my bishop on b6 somehow. Okay, knight e3, since the bishop is pinned, and I'm also eyeing the knight on h3, attacking the queen, and also, putting pressure on the bishop. So knight e3 attacks the queen. So queen b3, there we say queen b3. I guess I should now take the bishop with check. Okay, knight takes. Now I can go, I think bishop takes h3. I don't know, or maybe, the thing is, white is going to take my knight first. So rook e8 to protect my knight, then bishop takes h3. Yep. After bishop takes, I'll go queen h4, checkmate. Yep. So this is the plan. King f2, king f2, king f2, king f2. I think let me just take the knight. Bishop takes. After pawn takes, queen h4 check, I guess. Yeah. So queen h4 check. White's king can't go back. So king g1. I can't give another check, but I can develop another piece. Knight c6. Knight d4 next is coming. So there we see knight f3 attacking my queen. So the queen has to go back, right? Nah, take on f4. That's just a free pawn. Or rather, it was a free pawn. Next, I'm planning to go knight d4 and go home. So if I win this game, I'll be on position number 1. Queen takes b7 is a sheer waste of time because of knight d4. If knight takes, I'll take with my queen. I just removed that just in case. Just in case. I have rook b8 in the near future also. Come on, you're wasting my time. Take. Okay, there we see rook d1, but I can just take that rook with my knight. So knight takes d1. Still have queen takes d. Okay. Oh, my opponent was a 2006 rated player, so I was wrong. I thought he was a 2200 or between 22 and 2250. Okay, there we are, you guys. I'm now on position number 1 and I haven't lost any game yet. So this is my second last game, I guess. So e4 by white, knight c6, the names of which defense, I just love it so much. And there we see a possible transposition, yep, into the Spanish opening or the Ruy Lopez. Against this, I like retreating my knight sometimes, but let me just go knight to f6, I guess. Or knight d4, trying out something new, why not? I mean, I covered this opening, this defense last year. I think it's a great defense if you know what you're doing. d5, pawn takes, good. Knight f6, knight f6. Next, I want to play bishop e7 and castle short, just playing simple chess. My pawn on d5 is a monster pawn, so bishop e7. I don't know how white can get rid of that. Yeah, pawn to c3. I can go bishop g4, right? Or maybe castle short first, or take the pawn. Which one is which? I think let me just go castle short, putting my king to safety. Besides, yeah, white can't take on d4. He was going to have one big pawn on the center, so bishop d6 first. Yep, so based on these moves, my opponent should be rated below 2000. And I will settle with that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Pawn to d3 is a blunder because bishop g4 traps the queen. And now, game over. Great. Yeah, I was right. Below 2000. My opponent is rated 1993. So that was a correct prediction, all in all, and still on first position, guys. So I guess this is it. This is the end of it all. And this should be the last game for this tournament. Knight to f3. Let's see what my opponent is going to do. Okay, I'm planning to play the tennis on Gambit this time in case of pawn to d5. So I'll go pawn to e4 and knight g5 next. Right, okay, so the game didn't start, but that's okay, and I just signed out. So overall, I won the tournament, and I hope I won your hearts too. If I did, simply subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Share this video if you can, so that we can grow this community together. Overall, nice performance by myself, and if you missed any game, don't worry, I'll be posting some of the games every week. And you can follow me on Patreon, where I post other long form videos. That's if you want to take your chess seriously. With that being said, thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, bye bye.